Matty Loves Podcast. Matty Loves Podcast.
Welcome to episode 18 of Matty Loves Podcast. I'm your host, Matt D. Simone, and join me, as always, is the good doctor, Tom Lucas. Tom, very good to see you again. It's been a few.
It has been a few, and I've been looking forward to getting in here in the studio with you all day, man. Recording this show is always like the highlight of the day.
Yeah, I've been waiting for us to get back in here because a lot is going on now. I don't know, if people keep track of us on a weekly basis, but we haven't had a show. This is the first show we've had in a couple weeks. I guess it's 2 weeks now. We didn't have a show last week, but this is the first time we've recorded in like 4 weeks, I think.
Has it really been that long?
Because I think the last time we recorded was with Mike Ferraro, and
yes,
we did that before Halloween.
Right, yeah.
And as we're recording this now, this is like the second week of November. So anyway, we're now just getting back into the swing of things here with the podcast. Also, too, we're getting up to episode 20, which is pretty big for us because that was a goal that we had set when we first started doing this in the early summers. We wanted to make 20 episodes. And
by the end of the year.
Yeah,
we're gonna easily
yes,
do that, man. We got what? About 7 weeks until New Year's?
Yeah, we have 7 weeks until New Year's, not to mention the deluxe podcast that we will be producing in December, because not only will we be building up to Star Wars: A Force Awakens, but also Tom and I are going to sit down and run a little commentary on episodes 4 through 6.
Yeah.
If at some point in time.
Yeah, there's going to be a big Star Wars build starting in a couple shows.
Yes, and I have talked to a few people, a couple buddies of mine actually, who were going to sit in for the first 3.
Oh, okay, cool.
And
guys you work with, or
yeah, one of the guys in particular I've worked with, and then another guy I've met through my work, and he's married to someone I work with. And
okay,
he knows an awful lot.
I look forward to it, man. I know you wouldn't just bring any old schmo.
Oh, absolutely not.
On the show, on the program.
I do what I do. I bring in people that know more about things than I.
That's how you get through life,
right,
man.
Exactly.
You got to find those people and listen.
Exactly. So anyway, yeah. So we're back. It's episode 18, and while we have been away,
our show can vote now.
Oh,
our show is 18.
That's right.
Can vote, but can't drink.
No, not yet.
And can die for its country.
That's right.
Can't drink.
Enlist episode 18. We're talking to our episode.
So look out, 18.
Yes.
It's a tough world out there.
Hold on to 18. We're not going to be able to do that. The old band Black and Blue. That's the old metal song.
Right?
Anyway. So like I was saying, we've been gone now for a couple weeks away from recording, and we've been busy. Tom a little more so than I, because he's been on the grind. Tom, you recently went out to the lovely state of Oregon. How do they say it out there?
Oregano, I think is how it's actually pronounced. This O is silent.
I so bad want to always call it Oregon, but I always end up saying Oregon. Thank you.
I think
Thanks,
Oregon
Trail.
is
fine.
Oregon
Trail, man. That's what we were told when we were kids. Oregon Trail. But of course,
Oregon.
Yeah, I was raised in Virginia, so I don't, who knows. But anyway, so yeah, you went to Oregon. You've talked a little bit about what you would be doing in Oregon, but please refresh our listening audience as to what you were doing out in the lovely state
Of Oregon.
Yes.
I was in Portland for BIZARROCON 2015. So just a quick little backup, though. This was my third convention in about, 8 weeks or so. I got done with the back surgery, and when I finally started going out into the world, I hit it hard. And this BIZARROCON was the final event of the year that I'm doing. Although I am playing around with the idea of trying to get a book signing together when I go up to Detroit. For the holidays, and there is a chance that I might get a table at the Book Market Winter Authors Fair in early December.
Where's that?
That's over in Audubon Park. It's Orlando. neighborhood event, and there's a bookstore here, which I recommend everyone check it out. It's called Bookmark It, and they feature only Florida authors on one side of the store, and the other side of the store is all food-related books, cookbooks, and things like that. And they do a book fair twice a year, once in summer, once in winter, and there'll be about 40 local authors and presses out there selling books. It's really cool local thing. Orlando has a great literary community. There's a lot going on here, and Book Market has been really good to me. They carried my books from day one, and have connected me with people, and it's been awesome. So
cool.
I might do that. But in terms of the heavy lifting, con season is over for me. So BIZARROCON.
Yeah, BIZARROCON. So first off, where did you stay?
Okay. The BIZARROCON is located at the Edgefield Bed and Breakfast.
Is it palatial?
Palatial. It's a spread, man. So the Edgefield is it used to be what was called a poor farm. And what a poor farm is in the days before there was welfare and Medicare and all that stuff, if you were destitute, sick, poor, or whatever, and you had no options, you would go to a place like the Edgefield, which is, by the way, located in Troutdale, Oregon, just outside of Portland.
Okay.
And you would live there and work on the farm.
Okay.
Or you get medical care, you get a roof over your head and all that stuff. So that was about 100 years ago. The modern Edgefield is basically a bed and breakfast. There is, of course, the hotel. There are 3 restaurants, a pool hall, a brewery, a distillery, a winery, and, of course, farming. And there's even a golf course kind of thing. It's known for being haunted.
I was about to say, this place sounds like there's ghost stories galore.
It has been featured on like every major, ghost show, and the hotel is filled with artwork. They painted on all the walls. Like everywhere you look, there's like a little thing hiding somewhere. Like the pipe under my sink in my bedroom had a little face painted on the little bend on the pipe, and it's a place that really rolls around in its history. Every room is named for someone who worked or lived there when it was a farm. And this year, my room was Joe McAllister, and she was the secretary there from 1948 until like the 70s or whatever. And there was a painting of her typing in her office over my bed. And then what they do too is they have like a little biographical paragraph or two, which they paint right on the wall. And her deal was one of the people who stayed there was a guy with Down syndrome, and he lived there till he was like in his 70s, and he was kind of obsessed with Joe. And she had a little pickup truck with a camper, and he thought it was a house, and he was really obsessed with it. So the whole hotel is filled with all these really curious, there's story everywhere.
Oh, right.
And every time I go there, I find something new. There's no TVs in the rooms.
Okay. How many times have you been there?
This is my second time.
Okay.
And also, not all the rooms have bathrooms. They have shared bathrooms like you'd find in a dormitory or something like that on every floor.
Rad.
And they also have a hostel there. So for people who only have a couple of bucks, you can spend the night for like $20 and you get a bunk. There's like, I don't know, like 10 bunk beds, and you can stay in sort of a communal space. So the Edgefield is the bomb.
Man, it sounds pretty crunchy.
It's pretty cool. And the pool hall in the basement is great. The pizza's great. And then they have some like high-end like farm to table stuff, and they have a movie theater there too.
Wow.
They have a movie theater, and they do a lot of live events, a lot of music and stuff like that. So that's where BIZARROCON, this is the 8th year for Bizarro.
Okay.
Also notably, this is the 10th anniversary of Bizarro being used as a thing. The Bizarro was named the genre Bizarro in an essay that was published about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So last year when I went, it was my publisher's 15th anniversary. This year was the 10th anniversary of Bizarro being a thing. So that was very cool. It's a small con. There were maybe about 110 registrants and participants there. And to start with, getting to Portland from Orlando is a pain in the butt. You got the time change difference plus about 7 hours of flying, right? So when I flew out on Thursday, I left Orlando at 8 in the morning, which would have been 5 in the morning Portland time, right? I got to LA and then everything stopped for about 8 hours. My flight was delayed.
Get out of here.
Yeah, because they needed a part for one of the doors. So I sat in LAX for 8 hours, and I was starting to get pretty crispy, man. The only thing that was even remotely interesting or entertaining is there's a comedian by the name of Tig Notaro, and she was also waiting for the plane, and I didn't talk to her or whatever, but at least I saw someone notable while I was in LA.
Right.
I finally got on the plane about, about 7 o'clock LA time. So at this point, I have been awake. I've been up. I got up at like 5 in the morning in Orlando. So it's 2 a.m. So here we are. We're 2 a.m. to about 9 p.m. before I finally get to Portland. And my taxi was a Prius, of course. And I got to the Edgefield and got my room and went over to the first party. They have a party every night.
Sweet.
And there's it's called the ad house. The administration house for the farm is a separate house that's, just a stone's throw from the hotel. And there's 4 rooms in there, 4 or 6 rooms. And so all the major Racerhead press people stay there. And that's where they have all the readings and the parties and all that stuff. So I went and I said hello to a bunch of people. And then we went over to the pool hall and had myself a soda and a little bit of pizza and got caught up with people. And then on Friday, the other thing about BizarroCon is that it starts at 8 in the morning and it ends probably for some people at like 4 in the morning the next day. Because some of these folks, my Bizarro pals, they party, I do not. But I do like socializing. So at 8 in the morning on Friday, I was in a book pitch workshop. And that was really solid. That was run by a guy named Ross Lockhart, who has a press called Word Horde. And they only do 5 books a year, but they are really good books. He is an incredible editor. And his books are routinely covered on like Boing Boing and IO9 and all the other usual suspects. So I wanted to be in this guy's workshop. And the book I pitched was Buster Wonder, The Case of Grandma's Half-Eaten Pie and Other Mysteries. Mm-hmm. And it killed, dude.
Oh,
it killed.
Awesome.
There were 25 people in the workshop, and when Ross said, who here would buy this book if it was on the stands? And everyone raised their hand. So that made me feel good. Buster Wonder is my Bizarro Encyclopedia Brown. Okay? And have you ever seen the movie Dark City?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So keep that in mind. So Buster
It's been
Wonder.
a long time.
Buster Wonder is our Encyclopedia Brown, and Mary May is his friend, who is the muscle. Okay. Mary May is totally normal. She's a tough little girl, and she keeps Buster from getting his ass kicked from the local bullies or whatever. Right. So the book would be a series of mysteries that you can read and solve right alongside Buster, just like Encyclopedia Brown. Right. But the thing is that there is a meta story, which is there's something significantly wrong with Serenity Bay, which is the town that all the Buster Wonder mysteries takes place in. There's a cosmic evil of some kind, a Lovecraftian sort of component, and it really starts getting to Mary. Case after case, the deeper they go down the rabbit hole, she starts losing sort of her grip on reality. And Buster seems very much nonplussed. He's not affected by any of the weirdness, right? And so the idea is that by the end of the book, we get a sort of Dark City payoff where, reality is bending on a regular basis, like a Grant Morrison.
Right.
Pick your Grant Morrison story. And, the idea is for the book to be super interactive with the reader. And it killed, man. I got to write this book. I just have to. Everyone really, really loved it.
Sweet.
And so I did that, and then I did a reading that day. I did a little 15 minutes in the ad house. I did a reading, and then there was the Eraserhead Press party, which they have every Friday night, and I went and I saw all my Bizarro friends, and pretty much it's pretty much a who's who of Bizarro literature. And I went to the party, and then on Saturday there were lots of readings, and I didn't know it, but I was on a panel. They had me talk on a panel. I didn't know going out there that I was going to be sitting on a panel.
Wow.
It was on writerly advice. So come on, I give writerly advice every day in my classroom.
Or were they like, oh, you want to sit on the panel?
No, it was in the program.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I was honored, man. To sit on a panel means that they think that you have something worth sharing. And the room, it was a full room, man.
Hell yeah.
And I enjoyed the hell out of it. And then Saturday night was the big night, though, because they have the Wonderland Book Awards. And the Wonderland Book Awards are peer-voted best novel and best story collection. And one of the things I really love about the Bizarro scene is that, well, one is they are keeping novellas alive. The core product of any Bizarro publisher is novellas,
right.
Smaller books.
Quick shot.
Yeah, they do bigger books, but novellas are very popular, and I love that. I don't really see that anywhere else.
You think about it too. I mean, from what I've seen and from I've read of your stuff, obviously, but like Bizarro's stories themselves don't really seem like they would take up more than 150 pages.
Dude, you nailed it. Bizarro Lit is really driven by high concept.
It's like a bad dream.
Yeah, it's high concept stuff. And, the full novels are successful, like Skullcrack City by Jeremy Robert Johnson, which everyone should read. Definitely. It's phenomenal. It was definitely the book of the year. I mean, most talked about. Washington Post, IO9. People talked about that book everywhere. And if you ever get a chance to meet Jeremy, he is one of the nicest people you will ever meet. He's a genuine guy, and he is a cornerstone of the Bizarro scene. And I love seeing nice people be successful. There's not enough of it in this world.
Yeah.
I don't think. A lot of crappy people, make it to the top, and they're crappy, and that's how it gets them there, to other people. Jeremy is just a genuine, authentic guy, and his book really fucking blew up, and I love seeing something like that, So anyway, so there was a banquet dinner, and they gave out the awards, and the books that won this year were, for novel, was Dungeons and Drag Queens by M.P. Johnson, which is about a drag queen who ends up in a fantasy world and shows them what's what. And on a side note, M.P. Johnson is the guy who did the alternate cover art for my book promotion that I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
cool.
he's got a lot of books out there, and he's an artist, and he's an all-around awesome dude. And then the collection that won was by Violet DeVold, and it was I'll Fuck Stephen Hawking and Anything Else That Moves. And she's a serious writer, man. This woman has such a gift. I mean, when I read her stuff, it inspires me to write and quit at the same time. It's so good that you want to write something too, and at the same time, you kind of feel like you'll never write anything nearly as good.
Right.
And she unfortunately couldn't make it, but she's also like solid people, and it's really a wonderful thing that she won. And then after the awards and dinner was the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown, which is kind of somewhere between a slam, poetry slam, and a talent show. And people get 3 to 6 minutes to do some kind of Bizarro performance or whatever. Now, last year, I did a story. I took a story from my life. And most people, they do performance. They don't do nonfiction. So I did a story from my life, which I won't go over it now, but it involves a guy getting jerry curls and masturbation. Okay, and the story, without really bragging, it killed. Like, people that I saw at the con this year, everyone wanted to know if I had a story to match it. And unfortunately, there was a miscommunication between me and Michael Allen Rose, who is the host of the show, and he's also a phenomenal writer and musician. He does a Nine Inch Nails cover band called Now I'm Nothing.
Oh, wow.
They're very popular in Chicago. They do, yeah. So, solid stuff. Anyway, miscommunication. I did not perform at the Showdown this year, but I will come back next year and do it. And a lot of people were looking forward to me and seeing what kind of yarn I would spin. But I was so good last year, they created an award for me. They created a nonfiction category and then gave me the award for it.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so proud moment. A cat by the name of Danger Slater won the Showdown. He did a series of animal impressions that were hilarious. They were awesome. And he had various T-shirts to represent the animals. So he must have been wearing like 7 T-shirts. And so he'd take one off. Went through the whole thing. He's a young writer. He's in his early 30s. Danger Slater. He has a book that just came out called I Will Rot Without You. And I'm very excited to read this book. It sounds really good from what I saw. And then after the Showdown, there was more socializing in the ad house. And then on Sunday was a big day for me because I had my debrief with my publisher.
Oh,
so,
shit.
I
didn't hear anything the whole weekend. I was like, damn, man, I hope Tom's having a good weekend.
Yeah. Well, the thing about me is that when I'm really into something, I forget to post.
Hey, man.
And I know there's people
that
are like interested in what I'm doing, but I really neglect that. I'm also really bad at taking pictures. Like, when I go on trips, I never take pictures, man. And I know when I'm old, I'll probably regret
dude,
that.
there's a decade of my life that I will never, ever see again.
Yeah.
Like
all the wrestling stuff, right?
Oh, shit. Well, thankfully, there's the internet for some of that stuff. But still, at the same time, yeah, even that, I mean... But I'm just talking about, like, think about, kids are so fortunate now because of technology. Everybody's got a camera,
Yeah.
If we would have had the same technology growing up then, I'd have pictures, see pictures of me at, like, 20.
Back in the day, though, you got to take the pictures, you got to get them developed.
Right.
It's like a whole thing.
Right, and then,
now
there was always the classic,
instant.
You had the disposable cameras, and then you'd find them, like, 2 years later.
Totally, man. Totally. So... still, even with how convenient it is to take a picture today, I'm just really bad about that stuff. So,
you met with your publisher.
I did. So anyway, Pax Titanus, for those who might not know, was a part of the new Bizarro Author Series, which is an annual deal. Eraserhead Press introduces a small group of writers to the world each November by putting out a bunch of novellas. And then you have a year to sell and promote your book and show people what you got. Show them your hustle, you know? So Pax Titanus came out last November, and then I proceeded to hustle. And anyone who knows me, who's listening to the show right now, knows how much hustle I did, which, ridiculous amounts. So all the interviews, the shows that I did, the readings, the cons, and then all my online activities, the blogging, and most importantly, supporting other people's work too.
Right.
Using people that are familiar with me, introducing them to other great books and authors. So the debrief was a 2-parter. Me and Scott Cole, who was one of the other NBAS authors alongside me, we had about an hour and a half with Carlton Mellick III. Carlton Mellick III he basically started Eraserhead Press. He puts out 4 books a year, and he's been doing it for over a decade. So this cat has over 40 books, and they're all amazing. They're all, his first book was a breakthrough book, and he hasn't looked back since. He has been sustaining himself as a writer, using only his writing for income for the better part of a decade. The guy knows what to do, and he's an incredible storyteller. Anyone who's listening, Carlton Mellick III, just look up his stuff. So anyway, Scott and I, we sat at the feet of the master for an hour and a half, and he told us he gave us so much great information about what to do next, about, you know, what Bizarro was going to be like for 2016, the kind of things that would be happening and what to look out for. That was worth going to the con entirely, that hour and a half, right? Carlton is a totally chill guy. For all his success, and arguably he is the most successful author in Bizarro, period. He's such a genuine and nice, helpful guy. There's no pretension. There's no ego. There's nothing. And he's as interested in you as you are in him. Great listener. So then I met with Rose O'Keefe, who is the owner and operator of Eraserhead Press. And long story short, she was super impressed with my efforts over the last year and has invited me to pitch books. She wants to work with me again.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Excellent.
Got that, had a nibble or two, and then I flew back to Florida.
And then, so it was like, I don't care if this takes me 12 hours to get back home. Awesome.
You know?
And so now you've got ideas probably just all flying through your head.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? It's not like, what am I going to think of next? Is what am I going to use out of all your thoughts and whatnot next?
And the thing that was so cool, she said, I want you to pitch me stuff that you just are dying to write. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
have you talked to her about the mystery book?
Buster Wonder? Yeah. No, not yet.
Okay, now real quick, going back to Buster Wonder. Before we carry on here, Buster Wonder, the people that live in his neighborhood, what's his neighborhood called, by the way?
Serenity Bay.
Serenity Bay, okay. The people of Serenity Bay, do we have, like, anamorphic people in here? Are there people that are made out of circles? Are there people that are made out of, like, cubes? I mean, is this, like, how bizarro are we going here?
The Bizarro elements will be in the mysteries themselves.
Okay.
You know?
Right, so...
But from at first glance, Serenity Bay looks like a really normal small town.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to know the extent.
Yeah, no, I'm not starting with, like people made out of cheese and all that kind of stuff. No, when I sit down to write the book, I want to take people on a nostalgia trip. Right. You know, which is a big part of Ready Player One, which we're going to talk about when we get to the What Are You Reading segment on this show, and it's going to take over the show for sure. Part of it is nostalgia. I was an avid reader as a child, and I read all the Encyclopedia Brown stuff, and one of the reasons why I really loved it was the interactive element.
Right, yeah,
I could solve the case, right alongside. And so Choose Your Own Adventures, obviously, were also a big part of my reading diet. So, no, the Bizarro will come from elements. It will get more bizarro as the book goes on. Okay. The first couple mysteries will be really very straightforward.
But there's still that little hint of, man, that was weird.
Yeah, I want it to unravel. Right. And Mary, she'll be getting more and more upset and concerned about things, whereas Buster will not. Because Buster's supposed to be kind of, has a little bit of touch of social awkwardness. I may even put him in, like, the realm of Asperger's or something like that.
Is this an idea you've had in your brain, or was this, like, on the flight, you were like, oh, that's what I'll pitch?
I think I first came up with it about 6 months ago.
Oh, cool, man.
So it's relatively fresh. And I immediately went to the library and took out, like, 15 Encyclopedia Brown books. Yeah. And the early ones from the 70s are so amazingly racist and sexist, I couldn't even believe it, dude. Wow. Yeah, there was one where... a bully kicks a guy, and the guy is this yo-yo champion, and he's practicing with his glow-in-the-dark yo-yo, but it's the middle of the day, so he has a blanket over his head. Okay. So he's, out in his driveway, and I can't remember the name of the leader of the Tigers, who are the bully gang in town, but he runs up and kicks the kid, and he says in the book, I kicked him because I thought he was an Arab. Jeez. Yeah. If you could see Matt's expression right now, his jaw basically unhinged there for a second. I looked at it a couple of times. I'm like, oh my God. And there's some sexist stuff.
Oh yeah, man. It's like reading old comic books, man, from back in the day. I read some stuff from like the old X-Men books, and I'm like, whoa.
Right. Now I roll with it. because you
Sure.
can't go back in time and make people rewrite
Absolutely
stuff.
not.
It is what it is.
Well, that doesn't bother me because
it doesn't.
What it was.
But we are in an era right now
sure.
where people are upset about Starbucks coffee cups. You know, like. And they want to revise the past. There's a lot of revisionist historians out there. They just, this stuff is not cool. But instead of like letting it lie, they want to go in there and tinker with it. So, I read like 15, 20 Encyclopedia Brown books over the summer. So, and I have a notepad with about 4 pages of possible characters and townspeople and locations and mysteries.
Sweet.
What I love about it too is it's going to challenge me as a writer because I'm going to need to create puzzles
and mysteries. Exactly.
And do it well. I want them to be really compelling. I think that'll take longer than the actual writing.
Well, shit, you gotta read the mysteries, man. You got to figure out like what has worked in the past as far as mysteries go. What elements of just the, because I mean every mystery, probably when you break it down is set up in a specific outline, and you got to figure out like what parts of the outline in the past worked and find a way to like just mold them all together to where of course everyone feels like they're reading like a mystery book, but at the same time it has that nostalgic feel, but they're also reading something new at the same time.
And if I do it right, it potentially could be a book that's read by nostalgic adults as well as like middle grade young adult readers. It could be a gateway book to get, because most kids' books are pretty weird.
Yeah.
Look at the Dr. Seuss stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, Mulberry Lane or whatever is a one with an unreliable narrator, and every time he tells a story, it gets weirder and weirder and wilder. Like most kids' books really are kind of bizarro anyway. So I would love to see that. And the one thing I know about writing mysteries, or so I've been taught, so for you writers listening, is you write it backwards. You solve the case, and then you work your way backwards, to the beginning of it. So I'm excited at the prospect of that. I also met another publisher there who had really loved Pax Titanus and was interested in hearing pitches from me as well.
Sweet.
So I and Eraserhead Press does not write exclusive contracts for the writers. So potentially, within the next couple months, if I do it well, I could have 2 books going.
Hell
yeah, in 2016.
Awesome.
So, it was so much fun. BIZARROCON is so much fun. I encourage anyone who likes weird fiction, weird art, and fun people to check it out. It was only $90 for 4 days.
Wow.
And you get panels and readings and
it's
workshops.
Oregon, man.
And it's Oregon.
Yeah.
And for those of you who like beer, you can drink beer everywhere in the Edgefield. They even have, you know what a growler is?
No.
A growler is a big bell jar. And people that are into microbrews, that's like typically how they keep their stuff. You like go to a microbrew bar or whatever, and you get your growler filled up. And I don't know what it is, probably a couple quarts. At the Edgefield, there's a growler, an empty growler, and glasses in every room. And you can leave a card on the door, and the cleaning staff will fill the growler and leave it in your room for you. Wow. So, and if you love food, that too. The most expensive thing about the con was getting to Portland. The plane ticket was the most expensive thing. And fortunately for me, because of my writerly stuff, I can deduct it on my taxes because it's a business trip.
That's right.
So it's a win-win-win. And so, folks, BIZARROCON, go to BIZARROCentral.com, and you'll see it there. And I encourage you to check it out for next year. The Bizarro scene is filled with people that are open-minded and accepting. No one makes you feel unwelcome. And they're really a great bunch of people, and I encourage anyone listening to check it out.
Well, cool. Well, awesome, Tom. Well, it sounds like, you had a...
What was that, a half an hour?
Yeah, right.
How long was that?
It sounds like you did a couple things out in Oregon, and I'm glad that you had a successful trip.
Thank you, my brother.
This is the first time I am hearing all this.
Yeah.
Just as all of you out there are. And really quick... before we get into Ready Player One, The only thing I wanted to comment on my side of things was I saw Spectre, the new James Bond movie.
Yeah, man. So what's up with it? I haven't heard anything too encouraging.
All right, well, I'm going to wait here about 20 seconds, and then I'm going to give you Matt's review in 1 minute.
All right.
All right, and I haven't rehearsed this or anything.
Do you want me to time you just for laughs?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. I'll get ready on my end here.
All right. Tom preparing the clock here as I'm sitting here thinking about exactly what I'm going to say inside of a minute.
Let me know when you want to roll.
I'm all ready to go right now.
All
Go
right.
ahead, hit it.
3, 2, 1, review.
Okay, so the new James Bond movie, it opens like a classic Bond movie. We haven't, I don't think, seen the classic, scope entrance with him walking across the screen and then firing off the gun right away. We've seen versions of it later in the film, like Casino Royale. They did a real clever way of showing the intro there. But anyway, they do that to open the movie. I'm like, shh. Great. This is fantastic.
Don't they more oftentimes than not like open with him on a mission?
Yes, and that's
like,
where
that's unrelated.
Yes, and that's the way. But but with these Daniel Craig movies, it seems like that first mission is kind of the catalyst.
Okay.
Sort of.
Right.
So anyway,
it's a prologue.
Yeah. So anyway, the first 20 minutes, I feel like I'm watching a classic Bond movie. I mean,
that's a good
feels
feeling.
like it. Yeah. And then after he sleeps with the Italian lady, it turns into pure shit. And that is my 1 minute review.
That was a minute. God, man, I'm bummed out, man. It sucked.
I mean, okay. All right. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it was pure shit to anybody that's like sitting and watching a Bond movie for the first time.
Spectre is a classic enemy, right?
Yes, and
it's
don't
the
get me wrong,
Hydra.
they bring everything back around, okay? And not to really spoil anything, but you know who the bad guy is,
right?
Okay, and how they bring back the bad guy is a very interesting way, and I am fully about how they've brought him back and why he is who he is.
Now, dude, I don't know if the fans know, but you are a big Bond guy.
I'm a huge
You're
Bond
wearing
fan.
a James Bond shirt right now. What is that, Octopussy?
Yes, this is my Octopussy shirt.
Right, and you're a Sean Connery guy or a Roger Moore guy?
Yeah, I'm a Sean Connery guy.
Okay.
But also I always have a lot of respect for George Lazenby for that one film.
Yeah.
But anyway,
why do you think he didn't do more?
I can tell you exactly why.
Okay, why?
More. So right after George Lazenby filmed that, he started hanging out with this like Californian, beatnik, he was a writer, he was into
films.
He's
in like a bohemian scene?
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of acid and everything, and he shows up for the Oscars that year with like long hair and sideburns and, really just...
Sandals.
Just tripped out. Yeah, exactly. And... because of that and what he was getting into with all the like weird spirituality and all that kind of scene of the late 60s, he passed up on Live and Let Die.
He passed.
So they were like...
It was offered to him.
Yes.
And he wanted to party.
Yeah, he gave up Live and Let Die, and then that's when they went back to Roger Moore, because I don't know if you knew this, but Roger Moore auditioned to play James Bond for Dr. No.
Really?
Yes. And so they brought Roger Moore back, and then the rest is, they say, is history. But anyway, I love the story.
Who turns down Bond movies?
Somebody who is on some shit.
Yeah, man. I wonder how many nights he spent awake regretting that decision.
Oh, you're not kidding. Yeah,
is he still alive?
George Lazenby, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
George.
And I don't think it was until like the past like 10 years that he like started like talking about it and shit. So
about how stupid he was.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, yes.
But you like Lazenby's performance a lot in that film, right?
Yeah. I like what they did.
That's the one where Bond gets married and then she gets assassinated.
That's the first non-Connery Bond. Right. With a chick from Avengers. What's her name?
Diana Rigg?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Who's now in Game of Thrones as the Queen of Thorns.
Contessa Teresa. That's her name in the movie.
So, how many films is Spectre the Big Heavy in the Bond universe?
Okay, so Spectre exists in Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Thunderball, Goldfinger, You Only Live Twice, and Diamonds Are Forever.
Was that like 10?
And on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that's 7.
Okay.
And then that's it.
And how many Bond films altogether?
This is the 23rd or 24th.
Okay, so it's like roughly about 30%, 25-30% of all the Bond films feature Spectre as the
and then
evil...
they just disappeared.
Oh,
then
really?
They just disappeared.
They just didn't even explain.
At the end of Diamonds Are Forever, they never went back to Spectre, and really it wasn't until the very beginning of, I want to say, The Spy Who Loved Me. Roger Moore is in Italy, and he's outside of Contessa's grave, and they're going back and they're referencing to the canon in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then a helicopter shows up and it's being controlled by Blofeld, and he drops him down a big smokestack.
And Austin Powers is Dr. Evil is
modeled after Donald Pleasance,
right? Yeah, with the cat and the whole deal.
Right.
But his organization in the Austin Powers movies is Spectre, basically, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's, so. They needed to do it right, and they did. It sounds like they didn't do it.
Well, it was just because, I mean, like, you know how when you go into a Bond movie, and I don't mean to talk about this so much, but you know how when you go into a Bond movie, it's like you don't ask why. You don't go into the movie and you ask, why the hell is this happening?
Right.
You just go with it, right? But when you beg the audience to sit there and go, no, really, why are you doing this? That's the problem I have with it. And only few Bond movies have done this. Now, another thing I will say about Bond is I will take every Bond movie from here to, A View to a Kill. I'm a fan
of... That's a good movie.
Yes, I'm a fan of them all. But A View to a Kill, by, the critics when it first came out, they shit all over it,
Yeah.
And in the end of the day, when you look at the whole catalog, it's about half and half. Half the Bond movies are really good, and then the other half are like, it was okay, too.
Varying degrees.
Man, that was bad.
Yeah, what do you think is the worst of all the Bond films?
Well, see, I'm not a Pierce Brosnan Bond fan.
Okay.
So, I mean, Die Another Day is shit.
Yeah.
Octopussy is almost a satire of James Bond.
It really is.
Because he literally dresses as a clown.
He does!
In disguise as a clown.
Roger Moore is a clown. Oh,
right.
God.
But if it were Sean Connery to do it, we would be like, what the hell is going on? But Roger Moore doing it in those Bond films, which were half camp anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the one that's set in Louisiana with all the voodoo?
Oh, that's Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die has some really campy moments to it. Yeah. Especially with the sheriff.
Yes.
And all that. It gets pretty silly.
Yeah, and he comes back, too. He's in The Man with the Golden Gun, too. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not sitting here saying that Spectre is just total trash. I definitely suggest, anybody that's a fan of Bond, experience it in the theater. Don't wait for the DVD or whatever. But as far as, the villain of the old Bond movies, I don't think I'm giving anything away in saying he's back.
Okay.
And he's back like the way we remember him.
Oh, okay.
And so we get to see it happen. And they, the cat's there. It works. However, that scene...
Blofeld, right?
Blofeld.
Blofeld.
That scene, I'm not giving anything away. A lot of people knew Blofeld was coming back. But anyway, and it's Christoph Waltz, too, who is fantastic.
Yeah, that guy is,
But anyway, that scene in particular...
Is he bald?
No, not yet.
Okay, so is this a prequel?
So you know what they did, how they did it in Casino Royale, to where they kind of reset everything?
Yeah.
When they showed us Bond's first mission or whatever, and we're like, oh shit, so we're back to square one.
Okay.
Now we're bringing everything back around to where we were at Dr. No with Sean Connery.
Interesting.
To where
which is what,
he's going
65,
after
66?
Yeah, he's going after Spectre, now and everything. But James Bond was just going after Spectre. He didn't have really any ties, or anything like that to Spectre. He was just with MI6, and they were going to take out Spectre.
Okay.
Now we have a story as to why Bond wants to take down Spectre, aside from the fact that they're super bad.
All right, so we get some deep down
just
motivation.
Them, but the motivation that they give us, it was shitty how they
Does he lose
his
cool? When it comes to Spectre, does Bond get rattled? Does he get over emotional?
No, and he should.
Yeah, I would think.
And especially with what they're doing, what they did with how they explained everything. And I mean, when we stop recording, I can tell you because I know you don't give a shit about spoilers.
Right, sure.
But with how they're doing it, I would have expected him to be really effing pissed.
Right. Yeah. It's totally flying off the handle.
Yeah. And there's one scene in particular that just really kind of just killed it, and kind of also kind of brought down Blofeld a notch to where it's just like, oh man, well that was kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can talk about that later on.
Sure.
So yeah, I saw Spectre. If we're going off of 4 stars, I'll give it 2.
Ooh.
Solid. 2.5. Maybe a couple beers and I give it a 3. Right. I just need to see it again.
If you're a Bond guy or gal, you have to see it regardless.
For sure, absolutely.
But so for folks that are just not really necessarily into Bond movies, and I think actually, James Bond as he stands as a character in 2015, he's a little out of sync with the times.
Yeah.
The kind of stories that you're gonna get from Bond. I saw Kingsman earlier this year.
Right.
And
it's like Bond needs to take care of business himself, and in this film, he doesn't.
What?
Yes. That kind of killed it for me too.
You've pushed this movie down the list for me, brother.
M kicks ass in this. We get to watch M kick ass.
Black chick this time, right? No.
It's Ralph Fiennes.
Is Q? No, Moneypenny.
Moneypenny?
Who's the black chick in the commercials? Okay. And she looks like she's tough as hell, man.
So
this is cool.
This is like the first Bond movie to where M, Moneypenny, and Q are all a part of doing everything with Bond.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember at the end of Skyfall, they blew up the MI6 building.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where we begin, is relocated and things have changed.
So how many more Bond movies is Craig?
I think currently signed for 0 more.
What's his last name?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
right.
I think he's signed for. I don't think he is on. I think he's contracted to play Bond again.
So who's next?
Right. Oh, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you like him as a Bond?
Well, based on Pierce Brosnan, who was the first Bond that I went to the movie
You really don't
theaters
like Pierce Brosnan?
I loved GoldenEye.
Right? How can you not love GoldenEye?
I mean, that movie is...
and the GoldenEye game.
Yeah.
That's a landmark game, man.
I saw a meme the other day that said, teenagers today don't realize that this was the original Call of Duty.
Yeah. GoldenEye was a game changer. No pun intended.
Yeah.
No,
I just... I mean, the first... I don't. Tomorrow Never Dies. The Terry Hatcher factor was nice.
Terry Hatcher, yeah.
But with Michelle whatever her name is, that was in the movie, that was the other Bond girl. I wanted her to be a lot more active than she was. She's coming from, I was figuring we were getting kind of like a halfway kung fu movie, and it wasn't.
Who's your favorite Bond chick?
Oh, God.
Bond girl.
Jane Seymour, bro.
Oh, nice choice, man.
Jane Seymour.
First of all, any Bond chick in the 60s is going to get my vote, first and foremost. I really kind of like Grace Jones, man.
What?
Not because
as the character, or like Grace Jones as Grace
Jones as an actress, not the character that she played, but because she's so contrary to what you expect from a Bond girl. Terry Hatcher, though, man, she's definitely on my short list.
I mean,
I like my brunettes.
I think
I like my brunettes
as far as like
anything.
Lois Lane goes on screen.
Yeah,
Terry Hatcher's the best, like easy.
dude, she's smoking lady, man.
Yes. So I would definitely go with Jane Seymour Solitaire.
Jane Seymour, man.
Yeah. And that's also, I mean, Live and Let Die. That's in my top 5 Bond movies. It's fantastic.
What's your favorite Bond gadget?
My favorite?
Because I don't like
and that was another thing about this movie, man, that's been pissing me off about all these recent Bond movies. There are no gadgets.
Oh, see, that's just not cool,
There
man.
is one gadget, really, in this movie that serves, like, a big purpose, but I hate it when they only give him one gadget, and you see him get it, and you know, well, he's going to use that to save the day.
It's a Deus Ex Machina thing, where if you see it, he's going to use it. I love that old Aston Martin with the bulletproof curtain that comes out of the back.
For sure, Goldfinger.
And, the Lotus.
The submarine or whatever. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But I remember actively going out and getting a Lotus car, like a Matchbox Hot Wheels kind of thing or whatever. So I could do little James Bond stories with my cars when I play with my cars as a kid. So
yeah.
I loved, I was obsessed with Lamborghinis when I was a kid, but the Lotus had the gull wing doors, and it had a very DeLorean kind of look to it. You know,
sure.
In fact, you could probably do a Back to the Future with a Lotus from that time, and it would probably be a cool alternate.
Well, the thing that I always thought was cool about Lotuses was, like, if you had one, like, coming at you and you were playing a game of chicken on, like, a speed bike, you could totally just, like, ramp off the front.
Totally.
Of it,
Totally. They put out a little 2-seater a couple years ago, and I see them around occasionally. Sharp car, man. It's small. It's tiny. But it's really cool. I'd get it in all black. It'd be like my little Batmobile. Like the Toyota Mark II MR2 that I had out in LA was it was a Mark I, it's super angular, and it was all black. It had T-tops, a little 2-seater.
Nice.
Had those cars. The engine is a mid-body engine, so it's basically right behind your head, and it had a supercharger. Supercharger is like what you saw in Mad Max,
right?
Where it whirls up, and then you hit the button, and it jams air into the engine, and you fucking take off, and because it's a mid-body engine, the more you can speed up into a turn, the better your handling will be. So the car actually encourages you to speed into corners. I love that car, man. And I would love that Lotus. I'd make a little Batmobile out of it entirely.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
I really, honestly, the Aston Martin that he has at the beginning of Casino Royale.
Yeah,
that's a sweet ride.
I like the Garrote watch.
Oh yeah,
that's a pretty cool one.
Oh,
and,
dude, you can't beat the rocket pack, man.
Oh god,
with the helmet.
Right? Yeah.
Why would Bond wear a helmet?
He would never wear a helmet. Yeah. No way. Maybe liability. Probably the insurance company made them wear a helmet while they were shooting that.
Yeah.
When I see these commercials for like the resorts out in St. Petersburg and Tampa, have you seen those water jetpacks that they have now? Basically, you get out on the water, and it's a big jetpack thing, and it
sucks the water out.
It sucks water up, and it gives you thrust.
Oh, yeah. It totally looks like
dude,
Thunderball.
I so want to do one of those things so badly. Yeah, if I, next time I get out there, totally. So anyway.
So, yeah.
What's next,
all right,
Matt?
So, as we've been discussing, I mean, guys, you have to realize me and Tom are just now catching up after, about a week here. And like I said, it's been a while since we recorded.
I'll tell you, man, a week is a lot of time when you're covering comics and geekdom.
Yeah, and I mean, with what we're about to talk about, man, I had to set aside my comics for reading Ernest Cline's catalog.
Ready Player One. When did this book come out? Last year?
No, Ready Player One came out, I think, in like 2011.
Okay.
I think. Let me see.
If you are a geek like us,
Yeah, 2011.
You have to read this book.
Oh my gosh.
You have to.
Oh my gosh.
What he did in this book brought me so much joy. I told you I read it in 2 days.
I mean,
I read 200 and change on the first day, and then I finished it up on the second day.
this book didn't make me cry.
No.
But there were a couple parts where I was, welling up with tears of happiness for our protagonist, and also, sadness at the end,
Sure.
because of what they're now walking into,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, this is one of the best novels I've ever read in my life.
Yeah.
Most entertaining. I mean,
You're gonna give it as gifts to people.
Oh my gosh.
When a book,
I'm not gonna give it to a 20-year-old kid.
No.
But anybody that's my age and that I'm friends with and has never read this book before, I'm gonna tell them, you better read this damn book, because I mean, holy shit, man.
That's a really good point, too. And it's kind of tough to say this, but basically, if you weren't a teenager or even a middle school kid in the 80s, a lot of this book isn't really for you.
Yeah. I mean, even for me, I would say the references, especially early on with when he's talking about just the first few references that they have to old Atari games and stuff.
Right, yeah.
I had to Google that because I was what is this computer he's talking about using? The Trash 80 as he calls it,
Victor, if you're listening to the show, my buddy Victor, him and his brother Bernard, we used to program games on a Trash 80 in his basement. So, all those computers, man. I had a friend that had an Apple IIe, and I had a friend with a Commodore 64, and there was Victor's Trash 80, and we had an Apple IIe at the school that we played Oregon Trail on. And, oh my God, dude,
Okay, so wait, now we're throwing out all this computer stuff and everything. Why don't you...
Oh, you're making coffee.
Do you want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, right. We're going to do coffee.
Coffee is always flying here at the podcast.
Yes.
Actually, you know what would be good right now?
Yeah.
Is if we stopped and had a cup of coffee for a week and then came back.
Okay. For a week?
Yeah, for a week. We'll stop for a week. We'll get our cups of coffee ready, and then we'll come back, say, I don't know, episode 19.
Oh, wow, man. See, this is why I love doing this show so much, man. Is we sit down with our listeners, and the time flies.
I know.
It's such a joy. So we are going to wrap it up for episode 18,
right?
Which was really about BIZARROCON and James Bond.
That's right. Hey, we had to get back with it somehow.
Yeah.
So anyway, folks. If you are still listening to us Babylon right now, thank you so much for joining us. Episode 18. Hi, Mom. I don't do that very often.
Okay.
I should say hi to my
mom. Mom out there, our moms.
Dad.
Mary
it out this week.
Mary Ann,
yes.
I love you. And it's your birthday on the 21st of November, so early birthday wishes. But for those of you that listen to this show, Ready Player One, we're going to discuss in depth in episode 19, and it is one of the best books that's come out in the last decade.
Oh my gosh, you've got a week to read it.
Yes, go read Ready Player One. Trust me.
Yes.
You will be so happy that you did.
Yes.
Great book. So go. We'll see you in a week, and we got lots to talk about.
All right, guys. So, that's going to do it for us. We're going to go ahead and get our week-long cups of coffee ready, and then we're going to sit back down here next week, and we're going to talk a little Ready Player One, as well as some of the best comics of 2015.
Oh, we're getting to that time where we got to start wrapping up the year, man.
Well, we haven't talked about comics enough here, and not just that, but, I mean... December is going to be Star Wars dominated.
Yeah, and comics are why we do what we do, man. Comics are why we have this show.
Thank you, comics.
Thank you, comics. I love you.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Matty Loves Podcast. Matty Loves Podcast.